By Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
Traffic conditions looking good right now in the Wichita area, although as those traffic volumes pick up, watch out. We have a stalled out vehicle. This is westbound on K96, and it's near 21st Street in Northwest Wichita. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS. I'm Jed Chambers.
Weather.
A little chilly this morning, but by late February standards, not feeling too bad. Upper 30s give way to the low 70s this afternoon. Nice and mild with sunshine. It will be a bit breezy, though, so there will be some elevated fire concerns into this afternoon. Just avoid any activities that could cause a spark until that wind relaxes tonight. Temperature drops back into the 30s, and then tomorrow will be a little cooler with highs in the 50s, but still keeping that sunshine out. Sunday will turn a little bit cloudier, as we'll see the possibility of some showers and maybe a rumble of thunder or two Sunday evening. With your KSN Storm Track 3 forecast, I'm meteorologist Jack Maney.
Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next, exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Patrick Claybon with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Chiefs plan to franchise tag guard Trey Smith, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. The one-year tender expected to be worth $23.4 million, which would make Smith the highest-paid guard in NFL history. The NFL and NFLPA have agreed to a 2025 salary cap of $279.2 million per team, according to NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero. The new cap number represents a $23.8 million increase from last year. Colorado prospect and 2024 Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter is listed as both a wide receiver and a defensive back. Hunter telling reporters Thursday, quote, "I want to play 100% on both sides, but it's up to the organization." Potential number one overall pick Abdul Carter will not undergo surgery, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. After tests, the NFL scouting combine revealed a stress reaction in his right foot. Carter consulted with doctors Thursday and determined he can avoid a procedure. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like saddling up and chasing down.
Look at that sweet moolah!
The big old cash cow.
Look at all that money!
File with TaxSlayer Simply Free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey there. Good morning, everybody. It is a Friday. We're getting ready to kick off a nice weekend here, and we're glad to be with you to get things started on Sports Daily, help you wrap up your work week. Thanks for listening to us on KFH as you drive in for that last day of work. Thanks for watching us on our video streams on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Thanks for listening to us on the Odyssey app, perhaps. Maybe you're podcasting us right now. We appreciate you no matter how you get in touch with the program, how you take in the program, I should say, and you can get in touch with the program. You can call us at 869-1240. You can leave us your comments on those video streams. It's all available for you. Max Powers in there producing for us. I'm Jacob Albrock alongside Tommy Castor. Busy day yesterday. Between the Shockers and some massive Chiefs news. We'll get into all of that. We're going to check in from spring training out in Arizona with our Royals insider, Jalen Thompson, as well. Glad to be here with you, Tommy. Good morning. How are you?
Man, I'm good. It was an eventful drive into the studio this morning. I was telling Max about it before we came on the air. I don't know if you followed this. It's actually relatively close to your neck of the woods, but the intersection of Central and Greenwich. Have you encountered the wild turkey that lives at that intersection? Yeah,
absolutely.
So I have too. I drive through that intersection, all the time. Typically, I see him like in the Quick Trip parking lot, or he's just kind of roaming around a parking lot. He was in the middle of the intersection this morning and wasn't letting cars through. I don't know if he had a bad night of sleep. I mean, it happens. And, people are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Had something on his mind.
It's a big deal. Like it's been on the news. It's gone viral. There are Facebook groups with thousands of people. This was my first encounter with the wild turkey. I believe they call him Pablo. That was actually, he was actually preventing cars from driving by. That's not the crazy part. There was an elderly woman, and if this elderly woman is listening right now, I apologize for putting you out on blast. She was so angry that her car couldn't get by that she got out of her car and was waving her arms in her nightgown.
Yes.
I kid you not, in her nightgown, flapping her arms in the air, trying to get the turkey out of the way. I think the turkey thought she wanted to fight him. And so the turkey charged at her, and she quickly, I'm glad she didn't fall because that would have been bad, scrambled her way back into her vehicle and closed the door. And then I watched Pablo just peck away at the side of her car until she finally drove away.
Pablo's in a mood today.
I don't know why. It's Friday. It's going to be beautiful outside.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're in such a bad mood, Pablo.
I've never seen Pablo in a bad mood. He likes to hang out there. There's a popcorn joint down the street that I think he really likes to maybe frequent, get over there, see if anybody, dropped a few kernels. But he is a celebrity. He is absolutely has a following. He's this really cool, big, beautiful turkey, and everybody loves him. And usually, like he's really friendly and not a big deal. But yeah, clearly
he was not in a good mood this morning. And you know what? Like, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, if I had a situation where an elderly woman in her nightgown was flapping her arms at me, I would probably be angry about that too.
Well, get ready, because there's a future for you. It's a big part of your life.
Marriage after 40 years.
That's coming for you, buddy. That's when you have hearing aids and you turn them off. That's what that is. I mean, clearly Pablo bet the Shockers last night. And just wasn't happy this morning. I get it, Pablo. We've been there, buddy. That's funny. Yes. And yes, he is there all the time. Like people drive over to that intersection with the hope of seeing him, and they're not let down off it. Like he hangs out there. That's kind of his spot. He roams around. It's kind of a fun thing over on that side of town if you haven't seen it. But that's funny. I haven't heard of him getting aggressive and pecking at car doors.
He was not a happy camper this morning.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you bet the Shockers last night, you weren't. They lose. The streak is snapped, and it's not a terrible deal, right? They lost a game to a really good team. You hate to see the streak die, and now you hope that the bleeding doesn't carry into the next couple of games. So we'll get into all of that as the Shockers fall to UAB 80-72 at home last night. A good crowd. I think the energy is back for Shocker basketball. And, now it's just, keep the momentum going as much as you can into that conference tournament. And then the other big thing for us today that we'll get into is all the Chiefs news. I was in corporate meetings yesterday all day, literally all day. It's hard. Like every once in a while I'd get a chance to look down at my phone and Tommy would just send me a nuke, right? Oh, Travis Kelce's for sure coming back. He confirmed that on McAfee. And I'm like, oh, all right. Well, I guess there's that. And then later it's, the Chiefs are going to franchise tag Trey Smith. And I'm like, what? Okay. I'm going to need some time to think about that one. So it just, there's these bombs and they all came while we were up there. So we'll get into all of that today. For those and we still have to get you ready for a college basketball weekend now. And then, make our way into a Royal Spring Training. So it's a very busy show. We're glad to be here with you. I want to say quick thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping us nice and energized this morning. Take the edge off for Tommy with the close encounter of the of our turkey friend Pablo. I think he has several nicknames.
Yeah, I know that's one. I've seen that one. I know there are a few other ones. Yeah, it was eventful. That was an eventful morning, eventful evening last night. If people want an update, I took your wife out on a date as well.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
we had a wine tasting last night. I didn't really take your wife. She was there. You were driving back from your meeting, so you unfortunately were not able to go. But big thanks to Crestview Country Club for putting that on last night. It was a lot of fun. I genuinely learned a lot more about wine than I ever knew before. So that was good. It was fun.
Any of the wine in a box?
No, none of the wine came in a box.
Did any of it have like ice cubes or come cold?
A couple of them were like relatively chilled, which I think was
good.
A good thing. Yeah, but
yeah,
I believe if memory serves, I believe that we got to try a Sauvignon Blanc and a Cabernet and a Chardonnay. And a Zinfandel, I believe, was also on the menu. I think. I felt like there's an episode of The Office where.
Sorry, did you say Chardonnay?
Chardonnay. No, that's the running back for the Seahawks. Chardonnay. There's an episode.
You said it, and I was like, Chardonnay. That doesn't sound right. Okay.
There's an episode of The Office where Michael Scott is drinking a glass of wine, or he smells it and he goes, "This is a white." And that's how I felt throughout the entire wine tasting last night.
Well, listen, they do that kind of stuff. There's a beer tasting next week. That's more my speed. So that's the kind of stuff when we say we appreciate Crestview and all the stuff they do. There's a lot, like every night, honestly, like there's that kind of thing. And that's a part of it that makes it fun. It's like
they do a bunch of private events as well. And they had one last night. The Andover Chamber of Commerce had their annual party there. It was hopping. Like they had a band and a DJ, like, and they had disco balls and lights. Like, so you can, obviously bring out your private events too. And it was a busy night there at Crestview.
Well, give them a call. They got all kinds of memberships if you're a golfer or not. Like there's stuff where you can just, do that stuff and not golf if you don't golf. And then like I said, my wife plays tennis. And so we appreciate their support. We appreciate all the support of the people that make this show tick. Because we couldn't do it without any of them. And so we'd always want to say thank you to those folks and everything. It's good. It's good to have friends. It's good to have friends.
Did your wife tell you that she won a bottle of wine? She was like the big contest winner and won a bottle of wine.
So my wife wins everything.
I know.
I think I've said that before. And when I was driving and she called and she was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Let me guess, you won the bottle of wine." And she's like, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "It's insane. Why don't you gamble?" That's my thought. Like, what is your problem here? Like, what? We got kids to feed. Why don't you use this skill for good? She won't do it. Anyway, we'll come back. All right, let's start with the Chiefs because we got a lot to catch up with the Chiefs. Shocker fans, we're going to get to Wichita State's game last night as well. It's a busy Friday on Sports Daily, and we're coming right back.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, "I don't get it, it's just tea." But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
On KFH.
Hey, Shocker Baseball on KFH this weekend. It's the home opening series of 2025. Tune into 97.5 and 1240 KFH at 2:45 today for the home opener. Listen online at KFHradio.com for the Shockers versus Cal State Fullerton. You can also download the free Odyssey app and just search for KFH. Welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here. We'll get to the Shocker basketball game yesterday in just a little bit. Let's start with the Chiefs, though, today, Tommy, because two of the massive looming question marks, and there are a lot of them, surround two of the team's best players and whether they would be there next year. The first we have talked about a lot, Travis Kelce, who confirms via Pat McAfee yesterday, and other people are reporting it, that he will, in fact, be back next year, backing up what Brett Veach said earlier this week. So, look, we thought he would be back. I think the description he gave Pat McAfee were all the reasons we thought, like, don't want to go out like that, still enough left in the tank to not leave it that way. All of that is directly cited, quite frankly, to Kelce to basically say, yeah, that's not the way this is going to end. We're going to come back. I think it's interesting to catch wind of such a motivated Kelce. Not that Kelce's not always motivated, but the thing that caught my attention in all of that was said, Tommy, was try to get back to the best physical shape that I've been in. I think for a guy like Kelce, who's always going to be in great physical shape, that probably means to me, like, he's going to be in a different sort of physical shape. Like, for a long time, for most of his life, Kelce has been physically imposing and the best athlete on the field. Well, now I would imagine that needs to be reinvented a little bit. It can only go so far at tight end. It's not like a quarterback, right? When Tom Brady gets super skinny and learns how to be flexible and all that kind of stuff. But I think there is some of that to Kelce's game. I would guess, Tommy, that he becomes like less of a blocker next year probably and more of a pass catcher and sort of transforms a little bit, because I think one thing that became clear to a lot of people this year is physically, like, Travis Kelce's gotten older. And, that's a hard part of playing that position more probably than a lot of others, is there is such a physical component to it.
Yeah, I think that part of it, I mean, you have to keep in mind that, they played 17 regular season games and then they played 3 playoff games. And,
every year now for it.
Right.
6.
And so because of the consistency for the Chiefs, Travis Kelce is playing more games over the course of a season than his counterparts are at the tight end position. And when he is, being asked to do a lot of different things, not only be a pass catcher, but also be a blocker and all of that, it's going to put wear and tear on his body at a quicker rate. He can bounce back quicker when he's 5, 8, 10 years younger than he's able to bounce back at 35 years old, or I think he's 35, right? Bouncing back at that. I mean, I'm 38, almost 39. If I sleep wrong, I've got a hard time bouncing back. So I can only imagine playing 20 football games over the course of a season and all the, bumps and bruises that you take along the way. So I don't disagree with that as far as trying to find, maybe shift his role a little bit, or, not put him in the firing line to take, kind of that punishment throughout the course of every single game. But I think that some of it is, and it has been, necessity. You go back to the offensive line and you go back to the struggles that, especially on the left side of the line, that the Chiefs had. You almost needed to have extra blockers, whether that's going to be Travis Kelce as a tight end or one of the running backs or whoever, to provide extra protection for Patrick Mahomes. So out of necessity, I think that they had to use guys like Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, others in more blocking situations than they probably would have preferred. And I think that does obviously shine a light on just, again, the massive, massive need to get the left side of your offensive line correct for this season and moving forward.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, Kelce's decision didn't really have anything to do with the Chiefs' plan. As far as the Chiefs were concerned, they were always going to have to react to what he decided, right? Trey Smith was a designed plan. I don't know if they go hand in hand. They might. But yeah, Kelce is going to probably look a little different. And that, again, like, I think what's happened is way too much attention has been put on the last game that he played and not all the other games that he played. He was still, by just about any way you look at it, a top 5 tight end in the league. And that's considering they did take it easy with him early on, as much as they could, right? He still produced at that level. So let's not pretend like Kelce had a bad year. Kelce had a great year compared to the league. Did he have his best year compared to himself? Well, no, nor can he, right? Like, he can't. And so what does that look like next year, and what should the expectation be? I think production wise, he will, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to imagine because he's such a physical, physically natured person, right? He's a football player that's going to want to get in there and smash heads. I get it. but I do think there could be some advantages when he tells you he's going to, get in this great shape and do this kind of thing. Like for me, I'm like, he's always in great shape. I guess Travis Kelce, like the dude's always in great shape. What is that?
You could even tell in the Super Bowl he was tired, and not necessarily tired because of just that game and what the Eagles were doing, but the culmination of the 19 prior games that he had played in. You get tired. You just do, and especially when he's become the elder statesman of the team. I think you have to take that into consideration. He's not a robot, right? He's not Iron Man out there. Like it's going to take its effect. And you could tell, absolutely tell, when I know there was one play in particular that went viral where he was on the other end of the field, on the other side of the field from the play that was developing. And he was just kind of standing there, like not really. And you're just like, okay, it's not, he's ready to be done. He's ready to be done with this game, ready to be done for this season and recoup and, get back ready to go.
So what does it mean then? It means to me, probably, if we're talking about great shape, there's conditioning involved. There's it's going to be things that make him a more effective pass catcher, because I think the ability at 30, I think it'll be by the time the season starts in age 36 season, the ability to be this great blocker on the end, which he is getting harder and harder. And it's probably taking a toll more and more. Well, now that's where, okay, you've drafted a tight end early in the last couple of years. You've got Noah Gray. Let somebody else do that stuff. Let Travis Kelce be a receiver primarily, and let's see what that looks like. So great news, I think, for the Chiefs, and certainly de-emphasizes how badly they could need a pass catcher with an inevitable Rashee Rice suspension. Now maybe they can just absorb that blow, right? Because they know they'll have Kelce and Worthy and whatever else they have there. Now maybe that's less of a priority. Okay. So we know that one. You check that one off. The Trey Smith situation is interesting because we had all written off the possibility that Trey Smith was going to be back, right? That was never a part of anybody's plan because of all the other things they needed to do. And then we get and then we get a major boost to the salary cap. And it's like, oh, well, I wonder if that would help with Trey Smith. And then you get reporting that, yes, in fact, Brett Veach is saying it could. Even then, I didn't expect to see a franchise tag. So the Chiefs are going to tag Trey Smith, which is really interesting. It's not that Trey Smith isn't one of the best guards in football. He absolutely is. The issue comes because the number is taken from offensive linemen across the board. That would be like if you tagged Travis Kelce and he got a wide receiver number. I don't understand why this is, but it is. And so now that tag for a guard makes him the highest paid guard in football next year at $23.4 million. Prior, it was 21. It takes the average that includes left tackles, essentially. Now, I don't hate it at all. Rick brings up a point that I've seen a lot, in that he assumes they'll now trade Smith after tagging him to get something back. I actually don't think that'll happen because I'm not sure there's a huge appetite unless a team knows they can, do a long-term deal with Smith. And if that happens, the Chiefs are going to have to give him permission. I think it'll be pretty well known if the Chiefs had any designs on doing that. And Rick brings it up because it's something teams do all the time. But until we hear, and the Chiefs are allowing Smith to seek a trade, because you have to do that to allow other teams to then come in and talk to Trey Smith, basically, and say, we want to trade for you, but we're not going to trade for you if we can't sign you to a long-term deal. They can't do that unless the Chiefs allow them to, or be tampering. So in order for that to happen, Smith will have to be able to essentially negotiate with other teams anyway. I haven't seen anything in the reporting that that's something they're interested in. So it's not like they'll sneak through with that. No team's going to go trade a huge haul for Trey Smith 1 year of the highest paid guard in football. That's bad football business. They wouldn't do that. I mean, I suppose you listen to those calls if somebody makes them. Far more likely to me is they just wanted to have Trey Smith this year and not have the potential of bad left tackle and bad right guard.
Well, and I think that we talked about this the other day about the fact that, with all of the talk and all of the focus on left tackle, rightfully so, there have been a lot less talk on, do we remember that Trey Smith is probably not going to be back?
Right.
And how do you plug that hole at right guard? And, is there anybody internally that you feel comfortable handing that job to? Or then do you have to go out and find somebody else at right guard to take over for Trey Smith? So that was interesting to me. I think that one way or the other, we're going to see Trey Smith ultimately end up with a long-term deal. Whether that's with the Chiefs, I don't know. But it sounds like that they're going to be working towards hopefully being able to get a long-term deal done with Smith. But if that doesn't happen, I think the only way that a tag and trade would work and end up happening for the Chiefs would be if one of these trade partners is willing to do a long-term deal with Trey Smith. Because as you mentioned, I don't think that any team is going to be like, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll trade for you to be the highest paid guard in the NFL or the highest paid offensive lineman or whatever in the NFL, and then not try to work out a long-term deal. So whether it's with the Chiefs or somebody else, I think that it probably will be relatively short order, maybe before this coming season starts, where we'll see a long-term deal either with the Chiefs or another team for Trey Smith.
I actually think the Chiefs are fine letting Smith play on a franchise tag. I do, because
I just know the speculation is that they're going to be working towards a long-term deal.
Yeah. I think, they'd love to do that too. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it's that or bust. I think if it got to a situation where it was like, you know what, we're just going to play this year on this tag, I think the Chiefs would have an appetite for that. Nobody else would, right? They're not going to do that. Not and trade significant draft capital to get him. But if the Chiefs can't get it done, because, and the reason I say that is they can fit him in on the tag, and it's not going to cost them Trent McDuffie. It's not going to cost them George Karlaftis. There are holes through free agency that the Chiefs have to fill this year. Nick Bolton, the most glaring to me, but not like the kind of holes they'll face next year with McDuffie and whenever it is with Karlaftis. Like some of those key linchpin pieces. A one-year deal with Trey Smith doesn't compromise any of that stuff. It doesn't. It doesn't. And in fact, it could help them backload extensions for any of those players too. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you saw an extension with a guy like Trent McDuffie that is backloaded now, and maybe you can give him a little bit more because you're going to give Trey Smith all this money this year. It does. The Chiefs will have some wiggle room here. Do they want to get him signed to a long-term deal? I don't know, maybe, but the highest paid guard in football, I think, is at $21 million, I believe is what I saw. Are the Chiefs really in a position to pay Trey Smith above $21 million for an extended period of time? I don't think that they are. So unless Trey Smith's not going to reset the market, which he probably will, I think he will with whoever signs him, a one-year deal actually does make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm fine with it. I think it helps them this year. I think it also tells us they haven't ever really planned on attacking left tackle through free agency. I think that's the other big takeaway there is, okay, the dollars are going to Smith. The left tackle is either going to be a trade or it's going to be the draft. It's not going to be a guy like Ronnie Stanley. And I'm okay with that. It sucks. And to Felix Johnson, our Chiefs insider, point a lot. I'm sure they still like Kingsley Suamataia. I'm sure they still like Wanye Morris. So if the plan is to continue to develop those players or at least try, you can't also have a hole at right guard. You can't. If they still like those players and they still want to try to develop those players, okay, you have your Joe Thuney backup plan. Okay. You can't also be thin at guard.
There can't be, and I get it, and I don't disagree with you, and I think it's a really great thing that they brought Trey Smith back. Don't get me wrong, at least, franchise tagging him, assuming that they're going to keep him and not trade him. But I think what that signing does, to an extent, maybe not all the way, but to an extent, I think it increases somewhat the likelihood that we see an offensive line that looks identical to the offensive line a year ago. And
I totally agree. That's what I'm saying. I agree.
I don't think that's not going to work like that. And whether or not, from not going to work, what I mean, that's not going to satisfy the fan base. That's not going to make everybody feel warm and cozy and comfortable going into this season when we saw Patrick Mahomes running for his life and not getting the kind of protection when you're basically being like, hey, everybody, look, we brought Trey Smith back. We are just going to continue to roll with Kingsley Suamataia, Wanya Morris, and Joe Thuney, and we've got DJ Humphries, I guess, too, if we bring him back. Like, that's not going to satisfy the masses. They're going to need to do something else. And look,
the need to do something cannot be predicated on satisfying the fan base, because let's be right. Like, it doesn't matter what the fan base. I mean, it matters.
It's not just the fan base. Anybody with eyes could tell you that like the offensive line on the left side, it didn't work. And so if you're going to just trot out the same guys and do it all again, I'm not sure that's the right strategy. In fact, I know that's not the right strategy. And at the end of the day, like them tagging Trey Smith, that probably closes the door on a Ronnie Stanley, I would imagine. Even with the increased salary cap, I can't imagine that they're going to be able to go out and do anything like that.
Yeah.
So I guess you've got to look at the draft, but then it goes back to the conversation about the number of high impact left tackles that have been drafted at the end of the first round, and there aren't any. Like, you've got to go at least 15 or higher to be able to go and get your franchise left tackle. That's just kind of the way that the draft has been lately.
But it also opens the door to trying a few things. Like, you don't have to get Ronnie Stanley. So it opens the door to a lesser free agent to just get a little bit better there. Like, you're trying to get a little bit better than terrible, right? So you can still be optimistic about those two young players who didn't perform last year and bring in reinforcements to back them up. That hopefully allows you to keep Joe Thuney at left tackle, because you don't want a hole at left guard. So it's not like they're forced, if they don't sign Ronnie Stanley, to only roll into next year with DJ Humphries, Wanya Morris, and Kingsley Suamataia, right? That's
hope not.
Well, but it's much easier to do other things now than it is at the trade deadline, right? You have all the free agents to choose from. Will there be a diamond in the rough? Sure. I mean, yeah, there could be. Is getting, I mean, you can take more swings in the draft and hope somebody's better. Certainly possible. It's just less likely. Or now you go make a trade for somebody that you bring in there. Again, that's difficult to do, but they have one fewer. They actually have, the news yesterday means they have two fewer needs that they have to potentially try to fill through the draft. Trey Smith and Travis Kelce. Now maybe trading for a left tackle's back on the table because you have fewer needs to fill. We'll get back into this in the next hour. When we come back, though, let's talk Shockers last night. It's Albrecht and Caster. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together.
We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody. Cool event happening today. And I like it because it's a lot of local young people trying to do some good in the community. The Derby and campus swimmers are having an event to help Make-A-Wish today. It's called Swim to a Wish. And there'll be 5 swimmers from each team. They're going to swim 20 miles each. The teams will. Each leg is a mile. And then they'll go. The reason they're doing this, and they're doing it today at 4:15 out at the Glenn Crum Natatorium. That's at Campus High School. The reason they're doing it is to raise money for Make-A-Wish. It's awesome. We told them, we'd mention it for them. You can get a ticket for $5 or 3 for $10 if you want to go cheer them on at the event, or you can simply make a donation to them. There's a site, wish.org/MoCans, like Missouri, Kansas. So it's wish.org/MOKAN/swim. They've been doing this event for a long time, since 2013. So if you're feeling it today and you want to support those kids trying to do something nice and help out the Make-A-Wish organization, you have a couple ways to do that. If you want any more information, you can reach out to Steve Crum at 316-491-1977, or just go to the Campus Swimming Facebook page. But cool. Good on you. Good on them for doing that. Love seeing that. Love seeing all the community involvement. Speaking of, we're going to have some folks from the Blarney Breakfast Inn in the next hour to chat for just a few minutes. We're going to be out there. Guys, coming soon. It's the week of March Madness. It's the week that comes to Wichita. We're going to be a part of that. So love being able to do that. Love being able to help out where we can. Such a great community for a billion different reasons, but we'll tell you about the Blarney Breakfast coming up in the next hour as well. All right, Tommy. Shockers last night, they fall to UAB 80-72. UAB's good. Okay, so let's just start there. That's not a terrible loss or anything like that. Wichita State didn't play uninspired or anything like that. I listened to the call over on KEYN. Of course, we're your home of the Shockers with Mike Kennedy in the first half, and then finally got home off the road and was able to catch some of the second half there to the game. And it was, it was pretty clear they turned the ball over too much and they had a hard time with UAB's zone. And Wichita State's always going to struggle against the zone because it can't shoot the outside shot very well. And I think that's simply what happened. At home, you'd like to see them be able to shoot their way out of it, but that's not really their DNA.
Yeah, I mean, UAB looked every single bit of the part of a title contender in the conference, and they kept their hopes alive. They're only a game back from Memphis now for the regular season AAC title, and they played a really physical basketball game, and that was really, I think, what led to them being able to get the victory at Koch Arena, was because they sort of made it a little bit more challenging and difficult for the Shockers than the previous opponents during the 6-game winning streak for Wichita State were able to do. And I think that was the recipe for success for UAB. They followed a little bit of a different formula. That you mentioned the zone, but the fact that they were able to rebound well, they were able to force those turnovers. They really never allowed Wichita State to get comfortable offensively. There were some, again, really good individual performers for Wichita State. Corey Washington is playing great basketball right now. Had another double-double last night, which was great and, fantastic. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And UAB just made it super challenging for Wichita State to really ever settle in.
There's a couple of things and the turnovers are really what killed Wichita State in the second half, because we all know, right? You got to shoot your way out of a zone defense, sort of. And that's not Wichita State's forte by any means. They've been able to do it at times this year when they've had to. What was the game recently where somebody zoned them up? Was it Tulane? Or was it Florida Atlantic? I think it was Tulane. Yeah. So Tulane zones them up. And, at home, Wichita State's able to shoot a decent, let me pull the number here real quick, but they're able to, to shoot at a decent clip in that game, 6 of 21. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a great percentage by any means, but they hit 6 threes, right? And we know that they've really ratcheted it up defensively and all those things. Well, last night, they hit 4 of 19, same percentage. So maybe that's not what it is, maybe that, but whatever the other thing they were able to do against Tulane in that zone, they weren't really able to do as much of against UAB or Tommy. Maybe they were. Like, if we really go back and break down the tape, maybe they were just as good offensively, but those turnovers killed them, right? And UAB had a couple players that couldn't miss. So maybe it was as simple as that. Maybe it was just they couldn't defend at the same clip because UAB's good, right? UAB's a really good team. I still think, though, and this is my big concern coming out of last night, like, if I'm if I know how good the Shockers can be and I'm the rest of the league and everybody knows it, like, I'm going to zone them up. And I don't know what the frequency maybe we can get Taylor Eldridge in before the tournament, because I'm sure he knows. I don't know how often teams go in the zone against Wichita State. I would imagine it's pretty often, but that's certainly what they're going to do in a conference tournament format. And at some point, Wichita State's going to have to find a zone busting offense or never have any lapses defensively. I mean, they just won't be able to. Last night, they had lapses defensively in the second half, but how much of that, Tommy, was because UAB was getting easy buckets off turnovers?
Well,
right?
Yeah, that was a big part of it. I mean, UAB had 26 points off of turnovers last night. And, the fact that Wichita State couldn't hold on to the ball and these passes were getting stolen away, it led to a lot of those points on the other end and the quote unquote bad defense. A lot of that was led because,
right.
UAB was able to get the ball in transition. I do think that, going back to your point about the zone, in the Tulane game, there was a period in the first half where Wichita State really settled for bad shots, low percentage shots, because they couldn't break the zone, or at least they weren't able to do that. It's interesting because they did very early in the game. Then the zone really took them out of it late in the first half. But halftime adjustments allowed Wichita State to be able to get back into it offensively in the Tulane game. And it looked like last night that was going to follow a fairly similar script to the game on Sunday night, because Wichita State jumped out to an early lead. Xavier Bell started the game off really well. And then you're like, okay, like, there's some momentum here. And then UAB really got into their zone, and Wichita State again started settling for not great shots, low percentage shots. You're thinking to yourself, all right, if they can just follow the same script as the Tulane game, make the halftime adjustments, they should be okay. And it just sort of carried on into the second half, and the Shockers were just unable to, get back into the swing of things. And so that, yeah, I don't disagree with your point about how opponents, assuming that coming up and moving forward, I don't know, like if North Texas throws out a zone a whole lot, or if Rice or Tulsa, I don't really know
whether they normally do or not.
I don't know how effective they will be on that, but I don't disagree with you that, that's the recipe, at least defensively, for these opponents, is to throw zone at Wichita State because they have a hard time breaking it.
And look, the reality for Wichita State, they shot 52% in the second half, right? They got to the line. They took 16 free throws. Like all those things offensively in the second half you want to see from Wichita. They were doing all of it. They just turned the ball over, right? Okay, turn the ball over. And that's what as we're looking at the game and this win streak that was snapped and the bigger picture stuff, last night does not derail to me any of that. They turned the ball over too much against a really good team. And the weird thing was, and Weston Pletcher, who runs SID for the Shockers, made a really good point in his post-game notes. Typically, UAB's not a team that turns the opposition over. Like, that's not their strength, right? So what happened with Wichita State turning it over, it's not like that's something UAB's known for. It's just what happened in that game. So if it's what happened in that game, okay, fine. Not a big deal, because the Shockers aren't some at-large team. They're not it really doesn't matter as long as what came out of last night doesn't snowball on them. And nothing that happened last night, to me, is stuff that would snowball on you. So whatever, right? It's fine. No big deal. Good home environment. Put on a good performance. Now you've got a nice bit of rest here. You got to make a two-game Texas swing. You go play North Texas on Monday night. They don't play a game this weekend. It's Monday night is the next game. And great, go take another swing. But I don't care about the outcome of North Texas. I mean, I do. I really want them to beat North Texas. I would love for them to beat North Texas. I care more about just
it's the last chance at a quad one. Last chance at a quad one win.
Continue to play, but they're not going to make the NCAA
You're
tournament
right,
that way.
It'd be great to have a quad one win on your resume.
I would. Right when I said that, I wanted to grab it and put it right back in my mouth. I really do care that they beat North Texas, because I think they're capable of beating North Texas. But I care far more that they just don't let up from the things that have made them really good lately. Just if they do all of those things and can't get the win at North Texas, I'm not going to sit there and be, oh my God, they lost 2 in a row after winning 6 in a row. Here we go again. That would be the reaction for me if they lost to Rice and Tulsa at the end of the year. Not North Texas, right? That just seems more like an opportunity as much as anything else. So nothing about a loss to a good team, albeit at home. It's okay. It's all right. Sky's not falling for me today. Maybe it is for some people. It's not for me. It's okay.
I get it. And, you mentioned the Rice and Tulsa game. Remember, they lost to Tulsa in Tulsa earlier this season.
Those will alarm me. Yeah,
those are the ones. And TJ Cleveland and I yesterday had this whole conversation about Kansas State, and the roller coaster way that, the Wildcats won a bunch in a row and then, or they lost a bunch in a row, then won a bunch in a row. Then now they're back on a 4-game losing streak, and just that roller coaster up and down. Let's just hope that Wichita State doesn't follow that same path. Because you dropped 1, you've got 3 more conference games. You don't want to go from a 6-game, winning streak to a 4-game losing streak in the regular season.
I'll make a proclamation right now that they will not.
They're not going to
both of the Rice or Tulsa games. I mean, they could lose one. I'd be very disappointed even if they lose one of them. They ain't gonna lose both, and that would be an absolute disaster. And I just don't see that from this group. I don't. So. It's tough. It's a bummer because they could have won that game last night. Absolutely could have won that game last night. Just didn't get it done. So
even in the first half when, they were having trouble breaking the zone, it was only a 4 or 5 point halftime lead for UAB, and UAB
right
shot
there
the ball great in the first half, and so considering that the Shockers were able to go into the locker room only down by a handful, you thought that there was a good chance that they could make those adjustments in the second half. So it wasn't like they were blown out. I mean, I know at one point in the second half, it was a 13 or 15 point deficit for Wichita State. It ended up being an 8-point deficit when it's all said and done. Shockers were in it though. I mean, they were in it, quite a bit. And despite the really good shooting from guys like Alejandro Vasquez for UAB, who's fantastic. And, they hung in there for sure. They've just got to be able to, kind of take what they learned in this game last night And honestly, I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world to fall to a really good team like UAB ahead of a road tilt at North Texas. You know, I think if you carry that winning streak in, that's fine. But I don't think it's totally devastating for them to be able to regroup and re-strategize as you go on the road to Denton on Monday.
They learned a very valuable lesson, or reestablished a very valuable lesson, which is pretty simply, they're not a good enough offensive team to turn the ball over that way. They're not. If they're going to be this team that's capable of all of these things, it must begin with defense. They must suppress the other team's offense. And you just can't do that when you give the other team so many easy baskets off of turnovers. That's the lesson that should be very easily reinforced to this group. Guys, if we're going to beat North Texas, if we're going to win games in the conference tournament, that is the thing that cannot happen. We can come in and shoot really poorly from three and still win basketball games. We can come in and another team have a hot half like they did in the first. Like, we can withstand all that stuff. What we cannot withstand is turnovers like that. And now that's a nice little reinforcement as long as they use it in the right way. Okay. Real quick, your legend begins aboard the Disney Destiny, the all-new ship from Disney Cruise Line, sailing November 2025. Log in and listen to KFH on Odyssey for a chance to win a trip for 4 to set sail on the Disney Destiny in this national contest. All you need to do, listen for an hour on the Odyssey app. Find out more at kfhradio.com. We've got Jalen Thompson checking in from spring training in the next hour. Stick with us. More Sports Daily right after this.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody, for another hour of Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here with you. Glad to be with you on a Friday. We're headed into nice weather again this weekend. It's a good vibes outside, Tommy. Golf vibes outside, and you're dressed for the occasion.
Yeah, I'm ready to roll. Our friends at 3570 Golf Company. It's the Friday Fit. I'm going to get out and try to play some golf this weekend, I think. So we're here. We're in it. We're ready to go. And I'm rocking the Prairie hoodie today, which is amazing, from 3570 Golf Company. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this is the most comfortable hoodie that I've ever worn before. My wife gives me a hard time a lot because she says I live in this hoodie, which I do a lot, at home. But rocking it today for the Friday Fit. Perfect for spring or fall golf when you need a little bit of an extra layer. And they've got brand new releases, the hardwood polo, which is an homage to college basketball in the state of Kansas. The whole thing about 3570 Golf Co. is they are a locally owned and operated golf apparel company, and they draw their inspiration from everything here in the heartland, the Midwest, the plains, all of that. And the gear is phenomenal. Everything from polos to hoodies to golf head covers to hats. They've got it all for you. You can check out their entire selection at 35x70golfco.com. All you have to do is use the promo code Tommy, and you can get a 10% off of your very first purchase. So check them out again online, 35x70golfco.com.
Yeah, and who doesn't like to shop local, right? I don't appreciate that your wife makes fun of you for wearing that every day. It's the winter time, and I feel like we deserve the hall pass. And sometimes I worry because, we're on screen and I'm always wearing the same stuff. But I got to be honest, in the winter time, there's a couple of things that are warm and comfy, and that's just all I'm going to wear, right? It's just even, I always have a small rotation. It's kind of whatever's on top. But in the winter, it's even smaller. It's going to have to keep me warm, right? And it's going to have to be comfortable. Nobody's trying to win style points in the wintertime.
Yeah, she gives me a hard time because I do live in certain clothes. I get something that I love. And the problem is that I wear it out. I wear it to death, and I'll end up putting holes in it or I'll get stains on it. She's like, can you like switch it up so you're not wearing the same thing and then you got to go buy another one very quickly afterwards?
Well, you would have to buy another one if you were going to rotate it.
I believe me, like I've tried to be logical about that in response. It doesn't really work, but I've tried.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got like, and I can't. There are moments in my life where, and I don't like unless I'm paying attention, I won't catch them. Where I am like turning into my dad, and that's why those commercials, the insurance commercials, right, where you're turning into your parents, are they hit home for everybody. Like I didn't even realize that I did this, and it's totally something my dad does. Like when I finish the day, and I'm curious to get other people's takes on this because I think I'm in the majority. Like there's only like a couple of pair of pants that I'll wear, and I just like I take them off and I put them right at the end of the bed, and then when I wake up, I put them right back on, and I'll do that for about a week, and then I'll do laundry at the end of the week. But like I'm wearing the same pants like all the time. Right? I don't, and I look, I'm old enough now. I'm not even ashamed of it. But like the way it happens is totally something that my dad does. He's always got it like his pair of pants. He leaves the belt in just like I do. Like the belt's still in the pants and it sits at the foot of the bed and they go right back on when you wake up in the morning. And I don't remember. I saw it one time when I was visiting back home. I'm like, oh my God, like what's happening? It's happening. Like, I do the same thing. Like, how is that genetic? But apparently it is.
I've finally gotten into the routine of taking clothes to the dry cleaners, like my nicer work clothes to the dry cleaners, which I didn't do for a long time. And I didn't realize like you probably should do that. But forever, I had been really focused on just getting my shirts clean. And I would take my dress pants and just hang them back up and put them back in the closet, pull them out the next time. And my wife was like, you probably need to get your pants dry cleaned too. Like they're getting a little wrinkly. You could take them to they'll take care of that for you too. Just put them in the bag and take them to the dry cleaners. And I'd never even thought about it. I'm like, well, I just take all my shirts. I didn't know I needed to do pants also. She's like, yeah, you probably need to get your dress. You don't want to have a nice crisp shirt and a wrinkly and stained pair of pants. That doesn't really work.
Saggy butt pants, saggy butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're just saving money for our families. That's all we're doing. Let's,
fiscally responsible.
That's right. Yeah, no, I don't. We could play a game sometime. You should play a game of how many different suits I wear on the air. It's not many. It's like I rotate basically just like 2 these days. Just a couple. And it's so funny because like for our viewers, women are, and it's usually by other women, right? Like our wives who judge us all the time will be so critical of the things that other women wear. And I'm like, who are you? Who is the person that will sit there and send that email? Like, who is that? And then it takes you to another funny insurance commercial, right? The ants or whatever, they're infested with ants. And you're like, oh, that's who that is. But like, they don't do it to guys. And so there have been multiple, and I've done this too. Like we'll wear this, like the same thing every day for like a week. Nobody notices or cares. Like, it's just like, whatever.
It's got to be egregious, I think, for guys to do it. Like
it would have to be. You'd have to have something wild, right? Like you'd have to wear like a hot pink bow tie every day for people to be like, he wears that hot pink bow tie every day. But for most of us, like, no, you got like a blue suit and a white shirt and some color of a tie. Nobody.
So this is a true story. Back at in a previous life at another radio station that I worked at a decade or more ago, I had a boss that wasn't from Wichita. He had moved here to take over. I think he actually might still be living in Wichita. So, but it's not a bad thing. He was an avid golfer, he was a really, really, really good golfer. And he was actually a member at Pebble Beach Golf Club, right? Wow. So like, you're talking like incredible, right? And he had, I'm not even kidding you, 31 different Pebble Beach Golf Club golf shirts, and he wore one every single day. And one might be blue, one might be green, but they all had the Pebble Beach logo. And he just wrote, and he would wear a different one every day. And then he would do laundry once a month. And he literally never wore anything different. It was a Pebble Beach golf shirt every single day, just like slightly different. One might have stripes, one might have polka dots, one might be like solid color. That's what he did every single day.
All right. Well, listen, it simplifies life a little bit to not have to think about it. But, to Thomas.
And I kind of appreciate the flex a little bit. Like, how many times would a guy be like, hey, have you ever played there before? And he's like, yeah, I'm a member. I have.
That's why I wouldn't do it, to be perfectly honest with you. That'd be the thing where I'd be like, no. But, cut Tommy some slack for the hoodie, because I got like a very small rotation of things I wear this time of year too.
It's
Summertime.
It's so comfortable, though.
Yeah, we appreciate their support and everybody else's support. Hey, if you want to get in touch with the program, you can. 869-1240. It's a sports show, but it's a fashion show too. You better believe it. Here on KFH. You can watch us on our video streams always. Facebook, YouTube, X. You can leave comments there. We're going to have the folks in from Blarney Breakfast here in a little bit. We've got a spring training check-in with Jalen Thompson, and those get more and more interesting as we get closer and closer to the season, because we begin to see, trends and any young players that could potentially be coming up, what pitching decisions are being sorted out now that we had questions about to begin the year. And it's a lot to try to keep up with spring training. So we're going to have Jalen Thompson in later this hour to help us do that. We're excited about that. And excited to have him on board and to have those reports. So those will come for you a little bit later in this hour as well. And then we'll get back to some of the news that we talked about in the last hour, because look, that the Chiefs had, just a massively, massively impactful day yesterday. Like yesterday, the two news items we get yesterday shape a lot of what will come, and we got to react to it. We've spent 2 weeks wondering about some of these things, and then just like, boom, they're settled. Okay, dust is clearing. Like, what are some options now to help the Chiefs try to get back to the Super Bowl? And it really has become this interesting place, whether it's with Kelce or anything else. Like the Chiefs were the best team in the regular season. They had all these injuries they overcame. They were still the best team in the regular season, at least by record. And they played a bad Super Bowl game. And I do feel like there's some narrative that maybe their little dynasty's done. And I'm like, why is it all about the Eagles? I know the Eagles played a great game. They have a really talented team. And there's no reason the Chiefs can't get back there next year. So, they begin to take the steps at what they hope they can do to do that. So we'll get more into that as well in this hour. If you want to win some HTO right now, all you got to do is text the keyword T to 20357. That'll get you a free cup of tea, more than 26 flavors to choose from. You can enter once per day. These will be good for either Wichita West, Wichita East, or in Derby. Again, that's T to 20357 for your opportunity to win some HTOT. Message and data rates apply. You can enter once per day. Good luck with that contest. And we'll also get you ready for a busy weekend here on KFH and all our Odyssey family of networks, as you've got this crossover happening between the basketball finishes and softball and baseball starting, and you got Shocker Baseball opening their season, and Wichita State softball hosting this massive softball event. So we get you all caught up on all of it. It's another hour of Sports Daily. It's Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Castor. We'll come right back.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
H.
All right, welcome back into Sports Daily, everybody. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here, and we are proud to be joined by Michelle Eastman and Margaret Shook because we have the Blarney Breakfast coming up very, very soon, and they're making their way around the family of networks here. But a couple Mondays from now, right before the big March Madness event here in Wichita and everything takes over, we have the Blarney Breakfast. 50 years, ladies, 50 years. That's wild that it's been going since 1975. And there's all kinds of stuff. We're going to be there for folks. So welcome into Sports Daily. We're so glad to have you in.
Thanks so much.
We're really excited to have you guys here with us. Really excited to talk about not only the Blarney Breakfast, but also talk about Rainbows United. Just a wonderful organization, wonderful cause and everything. So let's start there. Michelle, with Rainbows United, of course, this organization has been around for a long time, and just the opportunity to help out kids and families that need that extra support in the community. For folks that are not familiar with Rainbows United, share the mission of the organization.
You bet. So Rainbows has been in the community just a little bit longer than the Blarney Breakfast, 53 years. And Rainbows was started to help children with special needs in their families just be successful, to wrap around them, to help them help their children. And that's what we still do 53 years later. So for anyone who has a concern about their young child's development, maybe just they're not doing the things that their brother and sister did, or I'm around, other children their age, and my child isn't walking or talking the same, meeting those developmental milestones. It's a free call to Rainbows. You don't have to have a doctor's referral. You just call. We do a free evaluation in the family home. And then things like speech pathology, occupational therapy, physical therapy, hearing and vision services are provided in the family home at no cost to the family. And the reason they're provided at no cost is things like the Blarney Breakfast.
Yeah.
We, have a lot of costs. I didn't say they were free. They're just provided at no cost to families because we want those children to get the early intervention services so they can catch up, so those legs can get stronger, so that child can get what they need. And then we do serve children all the way through age 21 if they still need our services through case management. We have a really fun summer program for kids when they're out of school. So really, we're dedicated to the local area. We're a local not-for-profit serving children in our community.
And that's the stuff that makes it so easy for people to get on board with events like Blarney and how Blarney grows to the thing it is. So let's get to the details here. So March 17th is the Blarney Breakfast. You can get tickets, $20 for adults, $10 for children 12 and under. And it'll be, I assume this is a bit of a special celebration because you've got 50 years. So what are some of the things that people can look forward to at the event that, of course, also doubles over and helps Rainbows United?
Okay, the event is so much fun. It's just kind of like mass pandemonium when you go in.
Sure.
And you need to wear your Blarney. We want to have everybody all dressed up and celebrating. This year, they get a beautiful gold mug, I think, that we have sitting here. And then activities, we're going to change it up a little bit this year. Shields is going to put in a gigantic tent out front, and they're going to be having all kinds of games for kids. I think this is the week that they're all off on vacation, so they'll be able to do that. Our wagon masters are back, so we haven't had pancakes for a few years. We've heard about it, but now, again this year, they're going to be serving pancakes. And of course, we have the dancers inside. We're going to have the bagpipers. It's just stuff's going on every minute, and it's so much fun.
I got to tell you, from a personal level, I'm extremely excited that this will be my first time. I know Jacob's first time to be at Old Chicago for the Blarney Breakfast. And I've heard about it. I mean, I'm from Wichita. I've grown up always every year hearing about the Blarney Breakfast, but never had an opportunity to be out there in person. So we're excited to do our show live out there. For folks that are maybe like me and Jacob that have never experienced the Blarney Breakfast before, talk a little bit about why they need to go get tickets and check it out for the first time for the 50th.
Actually, they need to do that. They have to have it by March the 9th.
Okay.
And get there early because let me tell you, it gets packed.
Yeah.
So you need to get in there early because all the activities, they start right when the breakfast starts at so early in the morning.
I know, 6
o'clock.
a.m.
You
Wow.
got it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will come by, before they go to work.
Sure.
So it's just so much fun.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. So
you can buy your tickets for carry out.
Okay, good.
And we have that option. So if you want to take, a few breakfasts back to the office, you have that option when you go online to purchase your tickets.
And then tell us about the raffle, because that's another thing, if people want to help out and have a chance at a prize. I'm seeing, tickets are available and you guys have great deals on tickets if you want to spend. But what does that get you? What is the raffle prize that's out there?
Yeah, so it's a 50-50 raffle. So, if your name is drawn, of course, you get half the pot, and then half the pot goes to support services at Rainbows United. So we want people to go online. Again, the same place you buy your tickets, you can do the raffle tickets. They're one ticket for $5, 10 tickets for $10, 75 tickets for $20. 200 tickets for $50, and for $100 you can get 500 chances for that pot of gold raffle.
I've also heard, ladies, that that there's a rumor going around, and I feel like it's been this way for a long time, that if you show up, there's a good chance that you might have a local celebrity serving you your breakfast. Can we reveal who any of them are, or is it a surprise for the morning of?
I'm not sure who all is coming, but I think we've got Lily Wu's going to be
Okay.
going around, and I think we've got radio and TV
Okay,
personalities
gotcha.
and a few surprises. And you can go online and sponsor them ahead of time.
Okay,
And all of those tips are matched this year by Davis Moore. So
that's great.
if you give $10, you get 20, Rainbows does. So it's a really fun way. And yeah, they'll be out there all morning.
Okay. That's good to know.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming in. Again, the event is March 17th, that morning early. Tickets are $20 for adults, $10 for children. It's 6 to 9:30, and you have to have those tickets. You got to buy them online in advance by March 9th, which is a Sunday. And then the easiest way to buy those tickets again, ladies, is what?
rainbowsunited.org.
There you go. Go get your tickets now for the Blarney Breakfast. Tom and I will see everybody out there. We appreciate you guys stopping by and can't wait for the event. I'm a first timer too. I'm excited.
We can't wait to have you. You're going to love it.
Michelle Eastman, Margaret Shook. There you go. The Blarney Breakfast coming soon. It's part of a big week, Tommy, that week. You've got that on Monday. We're going to do live broadcasts out by Intrust Bank Arena for March Madness.
We are, yeah.
We're excited about that. We don't know what it'll look like. The plan months ago was for it to be a KU crazy party. That's probably not going to happen. A lot of the teams though that are in the mix, the main one being Houston, were here last time, and that was sort of at the beginning of Houston's run. So excited to have them back now as they've built all that momentum in the program. They showed up in a nice capacity last time. It'll probably be even more now for this powerhouse program that they would be to come in as likely a number 1 or number 2 seed. We're likely their spot, so that'll be fun.
It's funny. I was talking to our brand manager and operations manager, Tony Dusing, the other day, because that week, like you mentioned, we'll be broadcasting live together from Old Chicago for the Blarney Breakfast on Monday. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll be at Intrust Bank Arena for the opening rounds of the NCAA tournament. That's 3 days in 1 week. And I think prior to that week, you and I have been on location in this iteration of Sports Daily 3 total times over like the previous 2.5 years. And we'll be doing it together for 3 days on location in 1 week. So it'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting out, seeing a bunch of different people that week. It's going to be a busy one. It's one of the busier weeks I know on the calendar here in the city in general. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it.
Let's all just cross our fingers for good weather. That's my thing. Like, please, if we get another stretch of this crap weather, don't let it be that week.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I don't know if there was an article in the Wichita Eagle that Kellis Robinette, who's the K-State beat writer, wrote, I believe it was earlier this week or maybe over the weekend, that kind of broke down the most likely teams that we will see in Wichita for the regional. You mentioned Houston, definitely. That kind of seems like potentially as close to a lock as you can get. But also Texas A&M looks to be a fairly likely team. There are some bracketologists that have Texas Tech over Texas A&M potentially coming to Wichita, but that's a possibility. And then from there, it's kind of a crapshoot. There are a bunch of different teams that both, that Joe Lunardi has on his list and Jerry Palm has on his list. It's not totally 100% out of the question that Kansas will not come to Wichita, but I think it's unlikely, but it's not 100%. Like, they're absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, they'd have to win out probably, and then not have a problem being in the same region basically as Houston. So let's think of a scenario where that's possible. Houston plays themselves to a 1 seed, and then Kansas gets the 4 seed in that same region. And then the planets align for, who is possible, because then those would be 2 teams that play toward each other in the Sweet 16. It doesn't, and I don't even think it has to happen that way. Like, I don't think they have to be in the same opening 2-round location to then meet up in the Sweet 16. Like, there's a lot of different things that the tournament can do as far as sites and who's where and all those things. So, I mean, I'm not going to hold out hope, because I think Kansas still has, they would still have to play themselves up to at minimum of 4, I think. Maybe a 5 if you got really lucky, but they just have a lot of work to do. Now, can they? Look, could they win the next 3 games? Of course they could. Of course they can. That's the thing with Kansas. And, and we can just sort of walk that right into their weekend, but yes, they can. Like, they can win any game that they play. Like, that's the thing for Kansas this year, right? Like, that's what's been as frustrating as it is encouraging, is we know they can beat any team they play, right? Like, that's not even a hot take this year. Now, will they? Certainly has been the the problem, but can they? Sure they can. That's not even a why couldn't they? They were preseason number 1 and they've beaten or should have beaten the best teams in the country anyway. So it starts tomorrow at home against Texas Tech. That's a great opportunity for Kansas.
I don't mean to take a hard right turn here away from the Kansas discussion. This just came down a couple of minutes ago. That is NFL draft news. That I read this and I just have this immediate thought that comes to my mind, and I'd love to get your take on it. Cam Ward just said that he's not going to throw at the combine either. Why are we still doing a combine? He's not going to throw. Shedeur Sanders isn't going to throw. Abdul Carter's not going to work out. Like, none of these top guys are going to do anything. Like, why do we do this then? Like,
because there's so many other players that aren't at the very top of the draft that have so much to gain through the combine. That's why. Yeah, and look, the thing is now for these players is they can control the controllables and have pro days. So Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter, what do they have to gain? And I thought Shedeur Sanders would, but the thing is, Shedeur Sanders can just go have a pro day. And in a pro day, you control the environment a great deal. So the things that I was thinking Shedeur Sanders could achieve at the combine, he can achieve that at a pro day. We get the combine now for the other 90% of the draft that's not at the top end of the first round, right? All of those players. Now, and we see it every year, Tommy. Like, somebody gets in there. Look at Worthy, Xavier Worthy. I firmly believe his 40 at the combine made him a first round pick, right? Like, so I think
I don't have a problem overall, because I get it. Like, there are a lot of those players that are fringy and they're trying to improve their draft position and, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's all well and good. That's fine. But I feel like I get the 24/7, 365-day NFL news cycle, and you've got to have content, especially when games aren't going on and all of that. At this point, I don't care about the combine. Like, they can have the combine. That's fine. And let it be something where you've got these players trying to improve their draft stock. But let's not overblow it and make it the biggest thing in the world right now, because it's not. When you've got the top guys that are just, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to throw. They're not, like, why do I care? Well, I'll care when the draft shows up.
But have you ever actually cared about the combine? Because I don't.
I mean, I pay attention to it. Like, I want to see, like, those top guys, see if they're, able to live up to the expectations. But
maybe it's because I just don't. Like, I'm not into watching dudes work out. Like, I don't care.
You're not? Are you sure?
No, I've never been interested in the combine.
There's too much pomp and circumstance surrounding the combine when the top guys are not going to do anything. So maybe we ought to
pomp and circumstance because football's gone and all the networks need something to do. Like, here's what I do like about the combine. I love, as it's happening or after it's happening, going to find the real sickos who can take the information they're gaining from the Senior Bowl, from all this stuff, and then learning about who they think could be a better player than maybe they're being projected, or here's who the players. That part I like. Watching players work out, for me, does absolutely nothing. Rich Eisen, who follows us here right after our show, he honestly has made the combine more interesting than anything else, because he does a 40 in his suit. That's what's made the combine interesting to me. Like, I don't care.
Max made a really good point that the most interesting thing at the combine was that fight in the Starbucks between Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz. Did you follow that?
I don't know. No, I didn't. And I need to know this story.
TJ and I discussed it a little bit yesterday. So allegedly there was some sort of verbal altercation inside a Starbucks in Indianapolis between Ian Rappaport, NFL insider, and Jordan Schultz, NFL insider. And it was surrounding the reporting, I think, that Jordan Schultz had a couple of days ago, that Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford, they went skiing together in Montana. And I guess Ian Rappaport said that was ridiculous, that didn't happen. And Jordan Schultz said, no, it did happen. My sources say. Anyway, Schultz ended up confronting Ian Rappaport inside a Starbucks in Indianapolis. It got heated to a point to where I think that there was a police report that was made, or at least a league report, disciplinary report. I don't really exactly know. And what makes it even that much more interesting is that from what I've been able to read, Jordan Schultz, his father, is the founder of Starbucks. So it's interesting that that happened inside of Starbucks in Indianapolis.
He knows he's safe there. This is a safe place.
Exactly.
Look, that's good stuff. That's like Eisen running the 40 in a suit. Like, can we in the combine within it get a couple of beat reporters like in a boxing ring? Now I'm gonna watch. Right.
That's so much more interesting than what they're actually doing at the combine.
What? Right. Am I gonna take time out of my day to watch Abdul Carter bench press? No, I'm not gonna do that. Am I gonna watch Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz get into a fist fight? Yeah, I'll probably tune in for that. Yeah, I'd make some time for that. Why not? The combine is overblown. The combine's overblown. It's never been a big deal. I like that it's there, and I like what teams glean from it, and I like the fallout from really smart football people that can tell you what they've learned at the combine. But watching the combine, to me, is just not interesting at all. I don't understand why that's interesting to people. And I actually, quite frankly, I don't think it is interesting to people. So to your original point.
It just, I saw that Cam Ward's not going to throw it. I'm like, well, what? This is stupid.
I think what we've learned is for the top end talent, they're better off. They're better served controlling what they can control. Right. But for 90% of the players, the combine is where they can finally get their opportunity to show these scouts, like, look at how athletic I am. Because I think a lot of those scouts will tell you that athleticism, like there is a benchmark athleticism that almost always has to be achieved to play at that level, which is why they have a combine, right? Like if you can't do X, Y, Z, if you don't have certain measurables, your chances of being successful in the league are so much lower than they are otherwise. And they can't do that stuff until, yes, they measure their hands or, they do all these weird and strange things that they do, but they do them for a reason.
Yeah. Right.
So
I get it. By the way, quick fact check. Howard Schultz, not the founder of Starbucks, but he was the president and CEO of Starbucks for 15 years.
Well, he's not now.
Not now, but he was.
They've been in the news for making a lot of changes under a new CEO. So give me that fight. I'll watch. I'll pay. Put it on Netflix, and I'll maybe I'll find it. We'll come back. We're going to check in from spring training when we return on Sports Daily.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story, Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Daily is on KFH.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
And that insider that we welcome in now, Jalen Thompson of the Kansas City Star, reporting to us from spring training. So glad to have Jalen in this spring as we get you ready for a Royals season here on the home of the Royals, KFH. Jalen, you put this out, and, you know, Bobby Witt Jr. hit his home run, so everyone can settle down about all that business. I'm more interested to start things off here today with just how flexible and how versatile defensively the Royals are deploying a lot of players. There is a lot of movements with infielders playing outfield, also playing infield, different spots in the infield. Do you think that's them trying to figure out where people fit, or them trying to get everybody ready for what's going to be defensive mix and matching all season long?
Yeah, Jacob, this Royals team, they knew what they signed up for when they acquired Jonathan India. They wanted to have his bat in the lineup. So to do that, you have 2 second basemen. You have Michael Massey, you have Jonathan India. You can't play 2 people at one spot, unfortunately, in baseball. So someone has to move a position if you want to keep them all in the lineup together. So that's why they're trying out India and Massey in left field. And by watching both of them play, I think Massey may be more of the natural fit out there. He had a couple of nice plays on some fly balls. Now, Jonathan India, we got to continue to see what he's going to do in that spot. The first time he had a fly ball, he lost it in the sun. But he said he's going to get some sunglasses, and then that will be able to rectify that. So that's left field spot is going to be key, because whoever shakes out in that position, that will allow the Royals to configure the rest of their bench options. Will they go speed with maybe a Duran Blanco, or do they go with the versatility of power? You got Nick Prado and Nelson Velasquez are both out of options. They both play the outfield, so if they don't make the team, they have to be designated for assignment, go through waivers, and then the whole thing that has to happen before you can get back to the minors. So it's a lot of different ways they can do this, but right now they're just trying to see, first and foremost, is it going to be left field with Massey or India?
Okay, I'm going to ask you point blank here, Jalen, and I know this is on the minds of a lot of fans out there, and you're probably going to shoot it down pretty quickly, but I just have to ask, is there any chance at all that we see Jack Caglione make this team out of spring training?
I'm going to say probably not, because he still has to go through an entire first full season of professional baseball. I get it. Jack Caglione, I mean, the kid he's great. He's massive. And you see the 115.4 exit velocity on the home run, 110 on a couple more hits. So I just say, hold your horses, let him develop, and the Royals will make that decision when they get to it.
Well, and there are advantages to the Royals taking their time with that decision, right? That still exists in the finances of baseball, right? Not opening with the opening day roster.
Yeah, you don't want to start his clock as they used to say back in a couple of years ago, where service time accumulates, and when service time accumulates, that means that a player is moving quicker to having to get paid. And honestly, if you hypothetically brought up Jack Caglione out of spring training, where do you play him? That's the question, because
he's playing some outfield, right? Like they're thinking about him in the outfield.
Yeah, but he hasn't played that position.
Right.
I mean, he has to really learn that. So I think if I was the Royals and I had Jack Caglione as a young talented prospect, unless he just goes off and he just hits 20 home runs, 40 home runs in the minor leagues this year, I say you work him in at first base and in the outfield, and then you see where he is at the end of the season going into 2026.
You know, I think one of the major storylines, at least for the first week of spring training games, at least from my perspective, is Hunter Harvey looks healthy. And that's a major development for a guy that I know the Royals had high hopes for, not just last season, but in the future. What was your takeaway from his first outing in spring training?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tommy. Looking at Hunter Harvey and talking to him, he was so excited to get back on the mound, because there's only so much you can do in live batting practice and bullpen sessions to get ready. You have to face hitters. That's the only way you can see where you truly are at. And for him, you know, it kind of got to him that he wasn't, pitching during the postseason. This is a guy that the Royals traded a top prospect for to get from the Washington Nationals and draft compensation. So he's someone that is going to fit into that setup role. I guess the high leverage late innings, and he has a lot of velocity with his fastball. He's really strong, and he's really strong and has consistent command. So I think that for him, it's going to be just getting the repetitions. He says he's fully healthy. He doesn't have any pain. He just needs a rest to get going. I think he's going to be a difference maker for the Royals this year.
Yeah, the bullpens. So is starting pitching, though. Are we getting any indication of what a starting five might look like? How is I know Marsh is coming back from injury. Like, how is that panning out, and what's the plan so far?
Yeah, Marsh is going to have to get a couple bullpen sections still underneath him as he comes back from that injury that he had. And as far as the starting five, they're going to give him a shot to continue to push for that spot in number 5, I guess, over in March as we come up on that. But for right now, it looks like Chris Bubich is the front runner for that last spot.
I want to go back to the Jonathan India conversation, and you could definitely tell what the role, at least as the leadoff guy, what the plan is for the Royals. And it all starts with India getting on base to set the table for the middle of that lineup. And I know that it's a small sample size. I know it's early on, but that's what Jonathan India did so well in Cincinnati. Clearly, that's going to be the strategy for the Royals offensively too.
Yeah, I think so. When you look at a couple of the spring training games that the Royals have already had, one that stands out to me in particular, I believe it was the White Sox game. It was one of them where India gets hit by a pitch, he gets on base, then Bobby singles and Vinny doubles, and now the Royals are up 2-0, and it happens just like that. So that's how quickly a game can turn, just with the ability to have both of those guys, at the top of the lineup, and with India setting the table. And then you saw earlier, India had like 3 hits in the game, I believe. So he's a professional hitter. Bobby Witt Jr. said that yesterday when talking to the media. They love what he can bring to the table, and they understand that he is going to impact this offense in more ways than one. It might not be the power that everyone expects with the 40 home runs that you will find normally in the offseason with free agency or trades, but to get a legit leadoff hitter, someone that's always going to be on base, that is going to be key, because now you're giving pitchers more reason to have to pitch to Bobby Witt Jr., and you're giving the Royals more opportunities to score runs, which if they can get a 1-0 or 2-0 lead before Cole Reagans or Seth Lugo step on the mound, you are in a really good position if you're a Royals fan.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And look, like if India works out and can replicate, it does give the Royals as good a 1-4 as there is going to be in baseball. A big part of that, though, is Vinny Pasquantino, a guy who started a little slow last year, got hurt toward the end of last year, but was great at moments. Do we expect like great right out of the gates here from Vinny? Because that's also, I think we kind of know what we're getting with Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez.
Yeah.
Vinny coming out of the gates hot here. Is he healthy? Like how's he looked?
Yeah, I think so. I think Vinny, it's going to take time for all these guys to get their timing. You have a long layoff like they had this offseason. The more games that they play in, the more that they see live pitching, they'll get their timing honed in. And I think Vinny he's a key part of that lineup.
Totally.
You're going to bet him third, so he's protection for Bobby Witt Jr. So if Vinny is off and playing the way he played last year, which I have said it and been on record of saying that I think he can lead the league in RBIs this year. You look at what he did last season with 97 RBIs, and he missed a whole month of the season with injury. So if you extrapolate that out, he might have been at 120 by the time the season's over, and you're right there with Aaron Judge. So I think for Vinny, a good mark for him would be to maybe hit 280 with 25 homers, 120 RBIs. I think that's attainable. So if he can do that, that will definitely transform this offense that the Royals have. And plus, they need that production because they still don't know what they're going to get out of Hunter Renfroe, MJ Melendez, and the rest of the middle of that order.
A few days ago, Jalen, the news came down that Blake Mitchell is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, undergoing surgery, broken bone in his hand. I know that he's not a guy that, at least was projected right away to make the big league club. He's been on that timeline going through the minors and everything, but he's one of the top prospects for sure for the Royals. Does this injury set back his timeline as far as what the Royals want from him, where they see him progressing in 2025?
No, I don't think so. They caught it early, 4 to 6 weeks in spring training. He'll probably be slightly delayed going into the regular season in the minor leagues, but he'll be pretty much full go and be ready to contribute. It's interesting that the Royals have 2 legit catchers in Blake Mitchell and Carter Jensen in the minor league system that are really among their top prospects, because, you got to figure out what you want to do with both of those guys. Salvi's not going nowhere, and Freddie Fermin is a great backup. So they're going to keep getting the reps that they need in the minor leagues. But at some point, you're going to be like, are they ready to go? What are you going to do and make that decision?
Jalen, it's coming down the home stretch here. Like we're going to be in a month. In a month, we're going to be playing real games. I think, all in all, final thing for you, like vibe's good. out there? Like everything vibing, everything looking good, sounding good, feeling good?
Yes. I think that the Royals, they are intentional. I mean, I think that's the one thing that I've noticed in everything that they do. Like the competitions is intense. It's just they know what they want to do. It's a singular focus. You ask anyone in that clubhouse, from top guys to the guys that are trying to make the team, they understand where they were last year, and this year they want to advance past that.
It matters, and guys like Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez, we know they make that part, I think, easy on Q and everybody else. Find Jalen's work at the KC Star. You can follow him on X at Jalen Thompson. All the great coverage out there from spring training. We appreciate all the reporting here and our Royals insider work. Jalen, we appreciate it. Be good.
Thank you guys so much. See you guys next week.
There goes Jalen Thompson. I think when we talk like vibe, Tommy, and like I feel like there is some swag there. And I think I'm not sure why yet. I can't quite figure it out. After last year, why they're being slept on like they are. Like when you see things like they're the 4th best odds only to win the division, I think people are sleeping on them a little bit. They've got to stay healthy in the rotation. That's the big thing for them. But man, like their bullpen got better. Their lineup got better. It's hard. Like, I suppose you can look at things like maybe Bobby Witt Jr. has a flat trajectory off the rocket he strapped to his butt last year to become one of the best players in baseball. Maybe. But they lacked a leadoff hitter, and they got a good one. MJ Melendez isn't going to come out of the gates, I don't think, as slow as he did last year. Vinny Pasquantino, same thing. There's just not a lot there outside of injury that wouldn't have you insanely optimistic about the Royals right now.
Yeah, I just think that the only thing that, makes people nationally probably sleep on them was that there wasn't an overly flashy move that they made. I know trading Brady Singer to get Jonathan India, that's the biggest splash from a trade perspective.
One of the biggest trades of the offseason.
You're right, but I think I agree with you. I think people are sleeping on them just because they're paying attention to like all the money that the Dodgers are throwing at players and the Mets are throwing at players and the Yankees are throwing at players. It's not the Royals.
I didn't see that coming with this headline player as Bobby Witt Jr. is, but it's happening. We'll come back. A little more Sports Daily for you right after this.